influential blogger in the food community who are located in Miami or wherever you organize events. So here I gave an example of the top science influencer who are located in San Francisco. So that's these are three different, let's say, approaches, and this gives you also an idea of the diversity of the influencer program that you can set up. So you can set up programs that target different tribes. Within these tribes, you again have the opportunity to have, let's say, programs that target either ambassadors or experts or location-based. And then, you need to also evaluate the level of influence. Usually when people talk about influencer program, what's understood is that we're gonna go after the top influencers, and top influencers are very hard to reach. And for most brands, and especially most brands who are not very known, it's clearly not the best way to do it. And we have seen much better results going for magic middle or long tail. So highly relevant long tail bloggers and highly relevant magic middle bloggers are usually a better way to spend your time than reaching out to the top influencers. So as an example, so I give the power curve of the influence in the social media marketing community. So as you can see, so how to change the world. So that's Guy Kawasaki blog, so and himself as a blogger, and influencer and community marketing. That's our blog. So if you want to reach out, let's say, people in that community, it's much easier to connect to people like me, or than to connect to people like Guy. So we did manage, and we use the same technique for, let's say, for our own brand and our own services, and we did manage to reach out to Guy Kawasaki. So he wrote about us, in Mashable, so he used our solution to promote his last book, Enchantment. But it only happened after, I would say, a year of engagement with magic middle people, long tail and magic middle people in that space. And after a couple of, let's say, when you do that consistently, you get known by the magic middle people, and then they introduce you to the people who are a little bit more influencer. And that's how you get, without putting any money on the table, to reach out to people like Guy. But so it's not something that I would say an average brand can do over a week or over a month. That's something that you do for the long run. So, and you also have to fine tune with data points such as search and web analytics. But again, it takes time, and you really have to craft your outreach program and be fairly relevant to your audience, fairly relevant to the objective. Let's say precise, to build a program that fits the objective that you have, and also be careful that you reach out the influencers who are actually reachable, and that you not build a program that with people that you are never going to respond because you're not known. So if you want to look at tribes, and our and influencer list, so we do provide a free service which is called socialgps.ecam.com. So it's something that we have launched yesterday, and if you go on that site, you'll be able to both look at how let's say systems of tribes, so like-minded people that are writing on the same topic and that are heavily interconnected one to each other. So here I gave you an example of a screenshot of the healthcare tribe. So on the healthcare tribe, so you've got system of tribes. You've got tribes on nurse, doctor, mental health, disability. So any, let's say, any disease where there is a lot to say about. I mean, you've got a lot of people blogging about, connecting, becoming influential, and I mean, this become a specific tribe. So what you can see as an example on this drawing is that the people talking addiction, so they are almost isolated from the rest of the healthcare community. So it's a very specific tribe, and I mean very specific for that on that topic. So so if you go to this site, so you'll be able to explore. If you click on each and every of these different topics, what you'll be able to do is to look at the top 50 or request the top 200. So it's an easy way to start investigating what's done and how these communities are formed and who is there and who is influential. And so this wraps up my presentation, and I'm gonna now answer the question that you had. So the first question is that in our equation, influence is a function of relevance. So why did we mean by F? It's function, meaning what we meant is that you cannot get to an influence score if you don't put it in the context of a relevant community. So there is nothing like I'm influential and I'm influential on everything. Okay, you are influential within a community for on a specific topic, and unless you grab the community and you define the topic, it's impossible to give you an influence score. So yeah, so the next question is how we find names of tribes in certain areas. So that's a very good question. So what we do it by, let's say, we do that by looking at what the people talk about. So we first analyze the social media and the systems of blogs and Twitter and so on and so forth, and we look at how people are connected one to the other, and then we have to dive into the content to make a sense out of it. Okay, and we give the tribe a name. So it's subjective, but I mean, from what we have seen so far, it's pretty pretty correct. So it's pretty accurate. So the question is I showed an interconnected map with green cluster. Yeah, how do you identify that one influencer who is connected to others between cluster? Do we have to pay for this analysis for cluster? Is there a way of doing this ourselves? So our software provides this. So let's say our software solution does this analysis for you. So it enables you to analyze the social graph of all these influencers. And if you do it properly, you'll be able to spot both the core people within a cluster, but also the people who are connecting one cluster to another. So you can do the analysis by yourself, but I mean, you'll have to pay for the software, of course, or you can ask us to do it. There are a few other questions. So when you set up, the question is, when you set up influencer, how can we gauge if the influencer reaches public or business? So, or are they influencing wide, deep, or both? So again, so when we identify the influencers, we also provide the social graph. So if you want to know whether they influence, I mean, I would say public or, I mean, when you mean, I mean, by public or business, so we will, let's say, we will convert it into corporate bloggers or more, let's say, non-corporate bloggers, meaning independent bloggers. So one thing that you can do if you want to see whether the influencer reach public or business is you look at their social graph, and from their social graph you would see whether the people that are in their social graph are corporate bloggers or are independent bloggers. You can also look at their Alexa and Compete reach structure and see whether, I mean, let's say, where they get their audience from. So that's how I think I would do it. The next question is that for the people that are influential but do not blog on your topic area very consistently, how do you factor in consistently? So again, I mean, from what we have seen so far, it's very, very difficult to be an influential people within, I mean, creating content and having a blog. And the figure that I gave you from Josh Bernoff tend to confirm that, is that most of the mass connectors are also mass maven. Also, what you have to understand is that if you capture the mass maven, the mass connectors probably follow them as well. So the way that you find that they are, let's say, on topic is that they will follow other people who write content on that same topic. So you'll find them on Twitter, but you diagnose that they are part of that community based on that they follow mass maven who are in that community. Last question, can you create social graph for those doing in other language other than English? Yes, you can. So we already, let's say, provide a social graph for both US, UK, and France. But we have some clients that work in Brazil, Italy, Germany, and so they build their own tribes and they look at their own social graph. So the service that we would provide for them is just the software. So when we are on markets like US, Canada, UK, or France, in addition to the software, we also provide, a database of pre-existing tribes and influencers, which is pretty useful. So and from there, I'd like to wrap up. So I would like to thank you for your time, and if you have any additional question, just